I'll never forget the day I embarrassed myself in front of the entire office. It was one of those mornings where you wake up late, rush to get ready, and just know something bad is going to happen. I arrived at the office already stressed. My boss had called for an all-hands meeting, his words, not mine. He loved big, dramatic announcements, even if it was just about moving the printer to a different floor. I walked into the kitchen to grab a quick coffee before heading in, thinking maybe caffeine would calm my nerves. I poured a huge cup, filled almost to the top, because honestly, I needed the energy. Balancing it carefully, I walked toward the meeting room. Everyone was already seated, coworkers, managers, even a few clients. My boss stood at the front of the table, holding a stack of freshly printed reports like they were gold. He gave me that annoyed look bosses love to give when you're even a second late. Trying to look casual, I pulled out a chair. And that's when disaster struck. My elbow hit the edge of the cup. The coffee launched into the air like it had been waiting for the perfect moment to betray me. In slow motion, I watched the brown wave arc across the table and land directly on my boss's precious stack of reports. The room went silent. Completely silent. You could almost hear the sizzle as the hot coffee soaked into the paper. My boss's face froze. His jaw tightened. I could practically hear him thinking, "This idiot just ruined my entire presentation." Panicking, I jumped up, grabbed napkins, and tried to blot the mess. But my hands were shaking so badly that I only smeared the ink further. The charts turned into abstract art. The text bled into a brown blur. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, my knee bumped the table. My water bottle tipped over, joining the chaos. Now there were puddles of coffee and water mixing together, dripping off the edge like a miniature waterfall. Half the room gasped. The other half burst out laughing. My coworkers tried to hide their smiles, but I could see shoulders shaking and hear muffled chuckles. My boss, however, did not laugh. His face turned so red, I thought he might explode. For the next 10 minutes, he gave the most awkward lecture I've ever heard about professionalism, responsibility, and attention to detail. He wasn't even looking at the group. He was staring straight at me, as if the entire meeting had been rearranged into one long speech about how I had ruined everything. I sat there, wet shirt sticking to my skin, smelling like a coffee shop, and wishing the floor would just open up and swallow me whole. But here's the funny part. A week later, nobody remembered a single thing about the important updates. Not one. Ask anyone in that room today what the meeting was about, and they won't be able to tell you. What do they remember? That I turned a boring Monday morning into a comedy show. I became the guy who flooded the meeting table. And honestly, I'd rather be remembered for that than for sitting quietly in another one of my boss's endless, forgettable speeches.